Hi and welcome to Rockin The Planet. I'm Shane and so glad you could join me here to celebrate more of New Zealand's great wealth of musical talent. This week I extend a huge welcome to a musician who's been tinkling the ivories for almost 6 decades, one of New Zealand's finest pianists, Spike Walker. And while we're in a jazz mode, we could welcome one of New Zealand's finest jazz voices, that of Jessie Lamarie. But before we meet my VIP guests, let's see who's been rocking the planet this week. Well, it seems more and more music fans are heading out to sea on rock cruises. Kiss have just sold out their 6th Kiss cruise, sailing from Florida and heading to the Caribbean. The Kiss Navy, as the thousands of fans have been nicknamed, are flocking to join their idols for a head-banging, fist-pumping mission at sea. From upwards of $1,000 for a basic cabin to $5,000 for a luxury stateroom. Fans of heavy metal and good old rock and roll are busy getting happily ship-rocked. Apparently there are several ships busy selling out right now for Monsters of Rock cruises in 2017, all heading for the Caribbean. No noise control out there, I guess. Well, good stuff. Anyway, it's time to meet my first VIP special guest. And really is a special guest. It's Mr. Spike Walker. So internationally run now.
VIP.
Yeah, Mr. VIP. Oh, yeah. You are
like
the man.
I like that.
I'm so glad to have you here, man. It's been a long time getting you here, and I'm so pleased. Anyway, Mike, do I call you Mike or Spike?
Either. I don't mind.
Let's get that cleared up right away, because everyone knows, I know you as Mike Walker, and I know you as Spike Walker. And it's like looking for you on Facebook. I looked up Mike Walker, I couldn't find you. What's happened to Mike Walker? He's on there, I know he is. Well, Mike Walker's all over the world, but none there. And you're Spike Walker.
I'm Spike,
but that name was given to you by someone very famous.
Jimmy Sloggett.
Jimmy Sloggett?
Remember Jimmy Sloggett?
Yeah, love him.
Jimmy had this little game that he played with us way back when we were doing that Come On Happen In there, and he handed out nicknames to us. That anything that rhymed with Mike became Spike. So that's where it came from. It's also had some reference to 2 bulldogs in a cartoon, and one was Spike and the other was Tyke. So sometimes I think that he was aiming at that.
That connotation.
Yes.
So anyway, now we know. All right. Okay. So Spike's a nice name. What the hell? It's a tough name. But Spike, you started your career way out. I know you came from a musical family, and your mother was a music teacher in Thames.
Yes.
And that's where. And she taught you piano?
No, she didn't teach me. No, she wouldn't do that. I started with the Catholic, with the nuns who were just 100 yards up the road.
Okay.
I was very lucky, not being a Catholic, but because they normally only took people to them. Yes. So, and that's where I started with them. So I think I was 7.
They were hoping to convert you, you know that.
Oh, is that what it was?
A new organ player in the church. You know, they were getting you this. Okay. So the nuns taught you, began to teach you the piano.
And contrary to all those rumours about the nuns whacking people on the, I never got that ever.
Okay.
But one day, Sister Savina, I remember, she used to have a cup of tea, and she used to hold a cup of tea over my hands when I had to do something. And she'd say, "No, you won't spill my tea, Michael, will you?"
Is this when you're playing a certain piece?
When I'm playing, I had to do those things, and she'd hold a cup of tea over them.
That's where you really learned your craft really quick.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's in a way, it's a blessing, wasn't it? To keep a religious term.
Yeah, little old Thames. A lot of people don't realise that way back in the 50s, I'm talking now, there were at least three very good bands in Thames itself, and there were another couple on the Hauraki Plains. Because I keep on saying those days, and I really sound old, but I don't mean.
I love those days.
Okay. After there was a lot of fundraise going on, so in Thames you'd have the blue queen, the red queen, and the white queen, and they'd each one of those would have a dance, a ball, and blah blah blah.
I see.
So there was heaps and heaps and heaps. Also, another factor that a lot of people don't realise is that Thames had probably the first jazz club on a Sunday once a month.
Right.
Yeah. And it was very good for a long time.
And the lineup of those bands in those days were piano, a drummer, double bass,
Yep.
I guess,
Yep.
and what
Saxophone, trumpet.
sax or trumpet or something.
Yeah, both usually.
Yeah.
And trombone.
Yeah.
they-
So it's quite a Dixie sort of
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
New Orleans almost.
Yes,
that
it's
sort of
got- yeah, it's got-
directed towards that
Yeah, yeah.
sort of jazz.
Yeah.
So it gave you a bit of a feeling for the jazz feel even then.
Yeah, I was very lucky because my dad had a dance band and my mum played piano in it, although Graham Gibson, your guitar,
Graham Gibson, who plays guitar in my band.
his dad played piano in my dad's band as well as Frank Gibson's dad played
Frank
drums.
Gibson being the great drummer.
Yeah. Mm. So his dad played in my band, my dad's band.
In
as
your
well.
dad's band, and then you played with Frank Gibson Jr.
Yeah.
in your band
Yeah.
and so on. So it's amazing. The
Yeah.
whole family
Yeah.
tree is incredible, really. The musical family tree
very
from
like-
Thames.
yeah.
So no, you moved on from there, Thames, once you left the nest and you got into rock and roll for a short time, I believe.
Yeah, I got a phone call I was actually working for my dad as a baker, and I got a phone call from a very good
You
friend.
could have been a baker.
I could have been a baker. I could have been, I had a bit of dough, but...
There's a song there. I
yeah,
could have been a
okay,
baker.
Thank you. Ned Sutherland, very good guitar player, that rang me up and said, would I like to do a tour, which was in those days. There we go again, those days.
That's
1959.
Yeah.
And it was with two people, one Kahu Pinia and Vince Callaghan was a country.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the start
He was a
of it.
bit of a pop singer. He had a couple of hits. Didn't he?
Country pop,
And Phil Warren managed him.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
that's right.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Bye, 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 baby, goodbye.
Oh, you remember, okay.
I remember that song.
Okay. So from then on, yes, that was full-time from then. So that's 57 years I've been full-time. So
Yeah, I mean, amazing that someone could make a career out of it. And you then came through the 60s, the early 60s, you're playing in your bands and so on, but then you ended up on Come On TV show.
did Come On,
You were
I
performing-
can't Come On and Happen in Brian
Yeah.
Henderson, another piano
Shared
player.
the keyboard
Yeah,
duties.
we not on the same program, but I can never remember which one I did and which one he did.
But you,
So,
you know,
yeah.
and being Jimmy Sloggett was the musical director
He was
at
the
the time,
musical
so
director,
I
and
know
it was
when
full
I was
on.
yeah.
I can remember, and each time now I go into the university with the Kenneth, whatever the name of the. I have a little laugh because there's all sorts of things happened in that building, which is great
Yeah.
that it's still being maintained as a musical thing, right from way back.
And you see
One
the young
YA.
musicians in there now.
Yeah, and I point out to them, hey, look, there's all sorts of funny things happened in here musically.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good.
There's some great musicians went through there.
That was busy. Those programs that come on and happen in.
For local musicians, it was an incredible time.
Yeah, it was from what I remember, a Thursday rehearsal all day, and then Sunday afternoon into the night was recorded.
That's right.
And that went every week.
Yeah.
Every week,
Yeah.
practically I don't know how many months. So
I remember Sunday afternoon, it was a regular thing, and then the office meeting was Tuesday.
Yep.
We picked the songs.
Okay.
Next thing you know, went home and you
Yep.
had to learn these songs.
Right.
You had like 3 days to learn them,
Yes.
and then you're recording on the Sunday. You always worked a week ahead, so
Yep.
kept all the musicians. There was a lot of musicians. It was a big band. It wasn't just
Yes.
4 or 5 people. It was you had a horn section, and you probably had 20 people in there, all getting paid
Yes.
to work, which was great for us.
Right.
Shame they don't do it now. If we had the budget, we'd have them in here, I'm telling you.
I'm sure you would. Yes.
But anyway, on our limited budget, we're
Yes.
talking to Spike about the old days, as we said. And after that, you had a brief time in sojourn in England.
Yes.
You went over there for quite a few years in the end.
Nearly 10 years.
Now, this is an amazing time for you.
Yes.
I saw you in England when I was there, and I went along and visited you at a couple of gigs with Filthy McNasty, and you had Billy Christian.
Yep.
Quite a few, all Kiwi musicians, I think.
Chris Thompson.
Chris Thompson, of course, who went on to Manfred Mann's Earth
Yes.
Band and so
Yep.
on. But then you found yourself in a situation where you were working with a dancer,
Yes.
a performer. you
Yeah,
know.
tap dancer.
Tap dancer,
American.
yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, Will Gaines, he was an American Negro, and he was in the army when the war started, but he stayed. When all the troops went home, he thought, no, I like it here, so he stayed. And he was absolutely brilliant, absolutely.
Is this right? He tapped out the melodies with his feet. His tap shoes.
He had one instruction There's no instruction.
To you?
Yeah, to me.
No, you were the only person playing with them?
No, they had a whole band, but quite often he and I would
leader.
go to the different smaller towns in England, just he and I.
Yeah.
And but he used to say it anyway with the band. He said, go out, Mike, and just play. And I'd say, well, what? No, don't want any of that. Just go out and play. Don't want this jazz, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I'd just go out and play anything I liked, and he'd come out and play.
And he tapped out
with
a melody that he felt suited it.
Yeah.
Must have been amazing. It's freestyle with a dancer, basically.
Yes.
It's bizarre.
He was wonderful. He was wonderful.
Yeah. Must have had a real good connection with the guy, you know mentally and so on. It must have been amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then you gave that away and you came back to New Zealand, of course, and your careers, you've been forever working with everybody. I mean, you're never any week out of work. You're working with somebody. You're Ray Wolf.
Yes.
Myself, you've worked with me,
Yes.
you've worked with Larry, you've worked with, I can go through all the names, non-stop, everybody really.
Yep. Yes.
You're in huge demand.
Well, I don't know about that now, but it's that's a big reason why I've been able to do it for all that length of time. I've been prepared to work with good people.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether it's jazz or rock or pop or country or musicals or whatever,
No.
But like doing it. It's all very well to say, go and play with the rock band.
Yeah, just go and play for the dollar.
Yeah, right. So no. You've got to
love it.
You've got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I do. I like going playing with the loud rockers. Blows
every
the
now
cop.
and then. Every now and then.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Cleans the ears out.
Yeah.
Too right.
Now, you've actually started a club up in Auckland, and it's been going for some time now, the Auckland Jazz and Blues Club.
Yes.
I think it's the name of it.
Yep.
You are now the president.
Yes.
And that's what we really want to talk about.
Right.
This is it's a monthly gathering?
No, weekly.
Weekly, okay, let's get that right.
Yep.
So every week, and it's at the Point Chev RSA.
Point Chev RSA.
All right, now tell me more about it. You've got some great guests and people.
Yeah, okay. Now, I didn't start it. It's been going for a long time. Originally, it was called the Auckland Musicians Club. That was in the 60s.
Yeah.
And then they had a little bit of a kerfuffle, and they
As musicians do.
and restarted as the Auckland Jazz and Blues Club. It was very, very good. It was run by Joy Crease, a lady, and dear old Johnny Watson.
God bless him, he only just passed away.
So they held it together for years and years. Well, they didn't hold it together, but they kept on going.
Yeah.
And then when Joy was about to pass away, she called me over to her place one day and said, "You're going to be president next." And I said, "Wait a minute." She said, "No,
It's an honor.
Listen to me." She said, "You're going to be the president." Okay. So
So you've got no option now.
I didn't have any option. If you knew Joy, there was no question about it. So we were at the Gables at that time, but then they asked us to move on because they wanted to make it into a
they turned a
sports
trendy
club.
pub.
Yeah, right. Okay. So when we moved, we looked around for premises. Finally, went to the RSA because they were offering us, some incentives.
This is Point Chev RSA.
Point Chev RSA. And we looked at it and we went, "Oh my goodness, it's an RSA, But they've been wonderful since as you know very well.
Well, I've got to say, the Point Chev RSA has really grown in the last couple of 3 years or so. It's just changed. It's growing all the time. It really has become a centrepiece for music in Auckland.
Yes, it has.
Which is great, for you guys.
We've worked at that. We've worked at along with other people that worked there. Yeah. We've worked on the room. As I say, in the beginning, it was like
the stage used to be
RSA,
down the side. It was in
me.
a funny place. Little stage.
Yep.
Now you've got it at the back. It's great, and the whole room can see the stage.
Yes. And we worked at the sound. We worked at the lights and the stage and curtains.
And you've got a lovely piano there.
And we've got our own big grand piano, which the piano players around town.
I know. I was told the other day, don't move that piano.
Oh, you can move that.
Mike Walker will not have you move that piano at the fear of death if you move that grand piano.
No, that's not quite true.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. No.
But anyway, Mike, so it's going really well, the club. It's a weekly event,
Yes.
and the people are turning out in the droves now, I believe.
Yes. I've got a wonderful committee with me. They've each got their own little job. And my dad told me that years ago, if you wanted to be successful in anything, a band or a business, surround yourself with good people and leave them do their job.
Surround yourself with geniuses. They'll make you look good always.
That's what I've got. I've got a wonderful committee, and yes, it's just really, really going so well.
All these wonderful musicians that you have performing there, I have to give you credit. You are one of the best. And I know you're going to show me just how good you are. You're going to give me a great old song, a good old standard, and you're going to play me Tinkle Those Ivories for me, Mike.
Sure.
And it's one called I Wish I Knew.
I Wish I Knew How to Be Free, written by Billy Taylor, but made famous by Nina Simone.
Nina Simone, of course, yeah. Beautiful number. Okay, here we are. Spike Walker with I Wish I Knew. Beautiful. What a musician. I am so honoured to have you sitting opposite me here tonight, Spike. You just are the man.
You should have sang with me. You should have sang.
I should have done a number with you, actually. It's something we didn't actually work out, but we could have done a nice little song together. Anyway, I know you're going to do one with Jessie LaMarie in just a few minutes, so she'll make up tonight. But I can't wait to get together with you and maybe do a number or two.
That'd be good.
Soon.
Yeah, sure.
Next time on the show, you're coming back. Now, back to the Auckland Jazz and Blues Club.
Yes.
What night of the week?
Tuesday.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday, 7:30.
48 weeks a year.
Yes. Yeah.
You're all there. And you've got some great acts coming up, I believe.
Yes.
Performing.
Yes, we have every week. They're all good bands. They're different. Some, as I explain to some people, which I really don't need to, is that each band might not be your choice.
Yeah.
But they'll all be good.
So young jazzers out there,
Yes.
are you listening? Go to the Auckland Jazz and Blues Club. Start learning your stuff. These guys are going to back you all the way. This is a great career move if they come down. And remember the Jazz and Blues Club, the Auckland Jazz and Blues Club, and anyone is welcome.
Yes, most
Turn
definitely.
up. It's on every Tuesday evening around about 7:30.
Yes. The food, the kitchen is beautiful, absolutely
Yeah,
beautiful.
they've got great food, point chef.
And the RSA have actually been a very, very big help.
Yeah.
As you actually know, anyway, with your...
Yeah, with everything. And they give us gigs. And
So, yes,
we're forever working in RSAs these days. Who ever thought, eh?
I am.
Well, I've got nothing else to live for. I'm a member of the RSA. Spike, it's been a pleasure having you here,
Thank you.
mate.
Thank you,
And
mate.
come back soon and
Yes,
visit
I
us
will.
again.
Thank
And
you
good
very
luck
much.
with the Auckland Jazz and Blues Club.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and once again, thanks to Spike Walker for joining us tonight. And now for my next very special VIP guest. I'm really thrilled. While we're on the mood, in the jazz mode, we've got Jessie LaMarie. And I'm so pleased to welcome you here.
Thank you so much, Shane. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Now, I know you're on your way to a gig, so you're like speeding away. But we managed to get you in here looking so glamorous.
I'm all dressed up.
They're very lucky people who are going to be entertained by you this evening at Shanghai Lil's. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you've got a residency there, or you're working?
Yes, I do. I'm there every Thursday.
Yeah. And now I'm going to go right back into your past. I'm going to delve into who you are.
Right.
Now, it all started, you're an Auckland girl, obviously.
Yes, that's right. I grew up in Auckland.
Yeah. And music, where did that take hold?
Probably in my teenage years. Really enjoyed listening to music, but I didn't actually start singing until I was in my 30s.
Was it jazz or was it instantly into jazz, or were you pop
no.
music? Or?
Yeah, I started mostly rock, really, rock and R&B. I started with a band doing the pub circuit, and enjoyed that. Did that for a couple of years, and then I ended up working in a duo for about 6 years. That was a lot of fun. And then another show where there was dancing and singing.
This is all variety type thing.
Yes, all that sort of
thing,
comedy, dancing, singing, that sort of thing. And then I moved into jazz in around 1999, 2000.
Now, what suddenly brought you into the jazz world? Was it just meeting up with jazz musicians around the Auckland club scene and things?
Well, it was quite funny. I had a friend that I'd known for around 14 years, and her husband was a jazz piano player.
Okay.
And I'd never met him. Never met her husband because I always met
always
her
out
away
playing.
from home. That's right. And I decided I wanted to sing jazz, and then within a week I was performing at a benefit concert, and she was there, and her husband was there, and I met him, and I said, well, I'd quite like to sing jazz, and he said, well, I'm a jazz piano player.
Perfect.
And that was it. So we worked together for a number of years. And
Can I ask you who he is?
yes, Mr. Peter Common.
Peter Coleman, okay.
Yes.
He's a well-known...
Common.
Common.
Yes, Peter Common.
Okay, sorry, Peter. But yeah, Peter's out there doing his thing still.
No, he's kind of semi-retired, really. He doesn't play very much now.
Yeah.
But
He obviously gave you a good grounding in the jazz field.
oh, definitely. And then I started working with Spike, and he's been great.
Spike is a magic, isn't he?
Oh, he's a legend.
Yeah,
he's absolutely wonderful.
It's unbelievable.
And he's become a very good friend as well. So we're good
That's handy.
friends. And yeah.
So you're doing quite a few gigs together still these days?
Not quite so much, but we're building up a little bit. A few private gigs, things like that. At Shanghai Lels, where I'm working tonight, I work with Billy Farnell.
But who's a well-known. We
That's
must
right.
get him on the show. Billy is wonderful.
Yes, he's
wonderful,
amazing.
very
And
talented man.
Denny Borum on bass.
Yeah.
So, and he's a very good bass player. So those are the
You've
people
been
I'm working
spoiled
with
for
tonight.
musicians.
I have. I absolutely
You're
have.
playing with
Because
some top craftsmen.
well, right from the beginning, right from the beginning, when I first started singing, I was lucky enough to work with some amazing people.
Now, can I tell, you just mentioned before that you knew my mother.
Peggy,
Yes. Peggy is still going strong, and she's 96 years old. She's out there tonight watching this show. She watches it, avidly every week. She doesn't miss her son's show.
Oh.
And so, Peggy, hiya, Peggy.
Hi, Peggy.
But you actually worked with my mother in your working days.
In the Debrett's.
In the Debrett's Hotel down the bottom of Auckland there.
That's right.
And she was the bar manager or something. I'm not sure what she was now. I know she was in charge of the unions.
Oh,
So-
she was absolutely wonderful. She worked in that corner bar, and I was only 19 at the time, but I was training to be a bar manager.
Okay.
And in those days, you could actually work behind the bar and serve people that were older than you.
Exactly. Because you had to be 21 then.
Well, exactly, and also tell people to leave that were older than you,
So I'm
which
just
was
curious.
weird.
So Mum was a good one to work with?
Oh,
She was
she
good?
was absolutely lovely. She worked in the corner bar, and she was
Yeah.
wonderful.
She
So
was-
much
she
fun.
was there years. Inspiration-wise, who are the singers that you really look up to?
Well, I think I mostly sing jazz standards. Yeah. So a lot of the, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday. I absolutely loved Ernestine Anderson. She passed away recently.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed her singing.
Yeah.
There's quite a number of singers that I enjoy listening to, so it's very hard to pick just one single influence, although Ernestine was probably the biggest for me, yeah.
And this passion for music, where do you want it to take you? Where do you see yourself going with it? I mean, it's hard in New Zealand.
Well,
We've
it
only got
is.
it's a small sort of, the jazz thing is quite a small club. Do you see yourself going overseas and taking your art further afield?
Well, I've been looking at moving into more gigs with jazz and a bit of R&B as well, and more blues, a higher blues content as well, because I love singing the blues. So I'm looking at adding more to my repertoire in that sense. Yes, I'd love to travel and sing. I'd love to travel and sing for my supper.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
It's so much fun.
And you're going to sing for your supper now, aren't you?
Yes, definitely.
You're going to sing a beautiful song. It's a standard. This is a way back. I mean, I knew this when I was a kid. My parents used to sing it, so
It's
we're going way
Duke
back in the
Ellington.
songbook.
Yeah,
And the song is called
Caravan.
Right. And you and the lovely Mike Walker, Spike as we know him, is going to back you as he only he can. And here it is, Caravan.
Night, and all the stars that shine so bright, the mystery of the fading light that shines upon our caravan. Sleep upon my shoulders as we creep across the sand, so I may keep the memory of our caravan. This is so exciting. You are so inviting, resting in my arms as I thrill to the magic charms of you. Beside me here beneath the blue, my dream of love is coming true within our desert caravan.
That's Spike Walker. He can certainly tingle those ivories, I tell you.
Oh,
Wow.
he certainly can.
And beautiful, beautiful singing. You are
Thank you.
just magnificent. Thanks for that lovely song. Now, I know I'm keeping a little bit and you're on edge because you've got to get to the gig at
That's
Shanghai
right.
Lil's up in Ponsonby Road. That's where they can go to see
That's
you.
right, 212 Ponsonby
But
Road.
before you go, you've got to tell me, are you doing any more recording or any recording at the moment?
Well, I've never produced an album, so what I'm doing at the moment is crowdfunding my
Yes.
first album. If you Google Jessie Lumali and Kickstarter.com,
Okay, it's along the
it
bottom
will
of the
take
screen
you-
there, just so they can spell your name correctly. So this is a crowdfunding. We're pleading. Come on. So what is it? It's Jessie.
Jessie Lumali,
Yep.
and it's on Kickstarter.com.
Okay.
So we'll be launching that, and at the same time as this program.
Yes. 2 weeks time.
And so what we're looking at is obtaining some funding to produce my first album, which will be mostly a jazz album.
It's been wonderful having you here, Jessie.
It's been wonderful
and I know
being
you've got
here.
a dash now, so
Yes.
thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, I've so
Have
enjoyed
a fantastic
being here.
gig this evening.
Thank
and my
you.
thanks to Spike Walker also, who's done a wonderful job backing you and doing his own little thing. And what a wonderful night we've had. Well, it's been a supreme evening for me. I've really enjoyed talking to my guests this evening. I want to thank you for joining us here tonight on Rockin The Planet. Don't forget, same time, same place, next week. I'll see you then. Until then, keep on rocking.